Okay, hello everyone. Do you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for joining us on today's panel on the topic of managing high-performing teams. My name is Marko Dinić. I'm a senior analytics manager at Nordeus. I'm leading a team of data scientists and business analysts on top 11. And today with me, I have panelists who have plenty of experience on the topic of managing high-performing teams, and they are eager to share this experience with you. So I planned a round of introduction, but considering that you already got an introduction, maybe we can get to the point already. So I would start from the beginning. We are talking about high-performing teams, so maybe you can explain what is a high-performing team for you. So who wants to start?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I have to start, of course. So, I mean, that's a really interesting question. That's why we are having this conversation. And to me, I think there's like two ways you can look at that question. Like, one is how do high-performing teams look from the outside? And to me, like those teams are teams that are focused on impact and not just like let's produce, as many features as we can, but they're the teams that are asking themselves, how can we make the biggest impact? And then like that happens when you give teams ownership and you give them, guidance and direction, and you don't tell the teams what to do, but you say, okay, we need to have this impact, and then they figure it out on their own. Like to me, that's a high-performing team. And then if you look at that question, when you're inside a high-performing team, like what does that look like? Well, maybe first and foremost, it's a team that has fun, but then I think it's a team that has a high level of trust between themselves. It's a team that does not have a problem with giving feedback to team members. It's a team that believes in itself. And then those are, I guess, all the things that look like that you have a high-performing team, but maybe like one surefire test that I've seen throughout the years is that a high-performing team is, a team that when you scale that team, the output scales as well, or the impact scales as well. So, you don't have diminishing performance when you add more people. And that's, I think, a really, really, really important thing. So, yeah, you can add, guys, please.
I can add. I like the idea. I get the point around impact. I think that's probably the most important part there. But other important part is the culture side of things. So you explained the impact, I think, quite well. On the culture side of things, I would maybe add a couple of points. So for me, when you see high-performing team, you see the vibes immediately. You see that, sometimes it's kind of non-verbal, but the team has gelled well. There's common understanding. There's common sort of front. And also, for me, the way when I recognize a high-performing team, I see individuals that are kind of high-agency individuals. They are self-directed, hold themselves accountable, and they don't need much actually in terms of external guidance and shape, providing a shape. So that's for me kind of like maybe hallmarks of kind of high-performing teams. But also I think on the culture side of things, going to kind of your point around feedback and that kind of angle. I think that kind of angle of psychological safety is very kind of visible in these types of teams. When people feel comfortable to bring their points across, to have healthy conflict as well. I think art of good conflict is something that kind of is prominent in high-performing teams. So these are maybe a couple of points just kind of add to your point, but fully agree with you.
Okay, my turn. For me, high-performance team is team who is mostly self-managed for delivery. As a manager, I'm not spending much time thinking about delivery. I'm spending more time thinking how to make more opportunity for impact for that team, working on their careers and thinking about the visions for the team. So I'm focusing on important but not urgent task for that team. If we are talking about having fun, I think those teams are celebrating success. They are spending significant amount of time together. And while working with those teams, I noticed when there's a lot of people who are new in the field, juniors, they will start be friends outside of the workplace. One more thing about that psychological safety. What I noticed that if it exists, I would notice that on the meetings, people will talk mostly equal. Juniors would ask questions about the problems, and seniors would explain, so everyone will be on the same page.
Amazing. So to try to summarize, it's a cohesive group of people. There is like a psychological safety in that environment. People are supporting each other. They have a common goal of making impact. They have fun together, good vibes. So great. So now that we know what is a high-performing team, then the next logical question would be how to get there. So how can we build a high-performing team?
Who wants to go first now?
I can go. I think for me, this whole kind of formation of a team starts with why. If you have a worthy goal and reason for formation of that team, it becomes much easier to bring a group of individuals together on a shared mission. So why is a big one for me when it comes to kind of like how do you build? Like, you know, you can build all the cool teams, but if there's no really reason for them, like they won't last and won't have impact, as you said. Apart from that, I think creating, you know, focusing on skills of people that are complementing each other, not necessarily copy-paste, so like, you know, this is the stack and then multiply by 20 times. It's more about understanding how these individuals can complement each other and how do they multiply their knowledge and their skills when they come together. Apart from that, I'm thinking, again, going back to my point from before around high agency individuals, team that, you know, you can give guidance to, but, you know, like thinking kind of analogy with infotainment apps and navigation, you give them, you don't provide GPS, you give direction, but you don't do like each and every turn sort of a thing. So people that are kind of open, comfortable, and seek that type of environment, that's what I'm kind of thinking in terms of how do you go about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree fully. I would add maybe a couple of things. Like you, I guess, need a couple of people, let's say seniors, to, you know, jumpstart the creation of a high-performing team. You could do it with juniors. I mean, as long as they are, you know, very proactive, very eager, hungry, it's possible, of course. But of course, it's always easier to, you know, start with some people that, you know, are the seeds of this high-performing team. That's one thing. Second thing is you need to start building a culture right away. And I heard the sentence once, you know, the culture doesn't matter as long as you have one. I would semi-agree to that. Like, the culture itself matters, but as long as it's not something ridiculous, it's really important that it's there and it exists. So to me, that's, you know, one very, very important aspect. And then leading now a team that's, I think, exists for 8 years now, it's really important to constantly refresh this culture and talk about the things we've done, why we've done it, because, you know, people will come and go and you will constantly, you know, have fresh blood in the team, and it's really important to, you know, they are aware of, you know, the team, the history, where they come from, and why we do things the way we do them, you know, as a refresher.
Great.
Okay. From my point of view, the culture of accountability is the most important one, because when you are building something new, there will be setbacks, and you need to work on it. And the team needs to figure out how they will work together on it to make them more productive. Sometimes, as a manager, you will need to step up, because sometimes the team is not good enough. Sometimes people, you have just too many talents. And in some cases, you will need to change the structure of the team, and after that, things will become better.
Cool. Too many talents, right?
Yes, there is. It is called too many talents problem in theory. And if there are too many people who are really good, sometimes they will just spend more energy or fighting each other than producing things.
So we can conclude that it doesn't necessarily mean that a team full of superstars is the best team, right?
Yes, in football, the best team is not the team with the best football players. They need to work as a team.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe controversial opinion, but yes, you don't want a team of all superstars, right? It's, I don't know, maybe not as optimal as more balanced teams.
Great. It seems a bit of a paradox maybe, but it makes a lot of sense actually, yeah. Great. So what I heard, we want people who are on a mission together that gives them this internal GPS, right? You don't have to guide them for everything, but you provide this mission. Then you take care about the culture. You need to have some seed for this team, so some seniors that would start up the whole thing, right? And at the end, like, again, put focus on culture, but also keep people accountable for their work. Great. So when building this team, like, are you aiming for some specific structure? So are you looking for versatility or specialization? So what kind of people would be in the team?
Okay, that depends of the business you are in. In some businesses, you are going to have the teams which are experts. If you need to deliver something in short period of time, you will take the best people, put them together, and they will deliver that. Because building team takes time. If you are in some other business where you work on the projects or products which, and you have team which will spend more time together delivering, in that case, developing team is a business goal which reduces the risk and improves efficiency. In that case, we are trying to create something which is called T-shaped team, where each of individuals has deep knowledge in one area, but it has additional knowledges which overlaps with the knowledges of other team members. How that works? Imagine you have a bridge and the pillars are people. If you have T-shaped teams, if someone is on vacation and someone is on maybe on leave, the traffic can go over the bridge because those T's overlaps. Also, in some cases, when there is a lot of work, if someone else in the team can have that knowledge, he can jump in and help. But as I said, it takes time to create good team, but in case of T-shaped team, it is easier because the team members can help each other to develop by giving them space, giving their area to work on, and helping people to expand their skills.
Amazing.
Yeah, I fully agree with what you said, and I can maybe give an example that will, testify to what you said. And the example is, so when we were building a football engine at Nordeus, so 2018-19, what we really needed, like, we didn't need T-shaped people because the business case was, you need to build a very complex, specific technology. So what we had is basically, groups of experts that specialized in one type of something. So for example, we had groups that specialized only in AI, and then groups that specialized only in animation systems, and then groups that specialized only in tools. And that took about 3 years. We built the system, and then at the point where we started integrating the system, now we need the T-shaped people. And then, the business case changed because you built something really complex, but as soon as you need to integrate that system, you need people that can understand, basically you need traffic to, you have built the bridge and now you need the traffic to pass and now you need the T-shaped people. So it really, really depends on the business use case that you're in, and then the definition of the high-performing team changes.
Fully agree. I think there is a place for both of these types of teams. I think being sort of understanding that and understanding the business context is probably the key. I think T-shapes probably lend themselves well to, I would say, speculatively 70–80% of cases, but it's not be it all. I think there's a place for kind of teams of experts that come on a mission to kind of build something, kickstart something, or whatever that is. But I think maybe going back to the point of T-shaped teams. So there's like complementary skills, but I think also there's like angle of complementary personality types. You don't want to have all the extroverts. You don't want to have all the kind of same old sort of thing. So you want to mix skills, mix interests, and also mix personality types in order to have like a cohesive group that can kind of multiply their abilities together.
I totally agree about the personality types. When they were in US, when they have the crew for the shuttles, they were picking the people, so they have the skills, but they also have the special types of personalities.
Right. Love that.
Very interesting. So at first we want to put all the people in all the effort in making this first bridge, let's say, and then when we get to the a product that needs to run and business to have, then we're trying to make multiple bridges. Like we put more effort on diversity and people, complementary people being there for each other, making less impact if someone is not available, and so on, and also building one on top of another. So Milos gave an example for the football engine. Maybe you guys also have an example of some T-shaped teams you worked in.
Okay. I was developing T-shaped teams. I work in fintech, and we have the business analyst, QA for automation, and for developers. Mostly QA would do automation and some manual testing, but he would understand business as well, while the business analyst would know the business, and he would be able to do some manual testing, while developers would help each other, and they would also know how to do automation of integration tasks. So in each situation, we could have some of people who are not available on vacation and have a team delivering.
Great. Cool. So basically, we defined what is a high-performing team. We know how to build it. We know that there are different types of teams, right? We might aim for T-shaped people. We might aim for I-shaped people, depending on the stage in which the product or the company is, right? But again, we have people in our team, so we want to make business impact. We want to deliver, to make results, but we also want to have people who are happy, motivated. These are all individuals which have their own motives, goals, different career paths. Every day in tech industry, there is a new technology every day. Everyone wants to try it out. So there are many different factors that determine whether a person is happy and motivated. At the same time, we have a business to run. So how do we actually make this balance between the business need and the growth of our individuals?
I can take this one first. So for me, that's a topic that I'm very passionate about because people are probably the happiest when they grow, and I am the happiest when people grow as well. As you said, sometimes it's really rough to find opportunity for people to grow because sometimes there's realistically, very little opportunity, or you have too many superstars and they starve sometimes. But to me, we also need to define what is growth, because there's multiple aspects of growth, in my opinion. So, for example, you can probably divide it in scope, capability, behavior, and impact, and I'll explain. Basically, when somebody grows in their scope, this means they're given a bigger project to run, a bigger responsibility. They have more is expected of them, and that's of course a learning and growing opportunity, and that's amazing. But sometimes you don't have that. You cannot give that for some reason. But that's one way of growing people. Then the second way is through their capability, which is, people are constantly learning new things, polishing their skill set, and this means, you can give them a learning opportunity, you can give them a mentor, you can give them books, courses, conferences like this one, and it's a way of them increasing their capabilities, or you can give them opportunity to work on a pet project that, fuels their passion, fuels their skills as well, and that's the second way people can grow. The third way might be, I call it behavior, but it's basically a subset of capability. If capability is hard skills, let's call it like that, then behavior is soft skills or leadership moments, leading without authority is really important. And then, you can give opportunities micro leadership moments to some people, to maybe, I don't know, lead stand-ups or lead retrospectives, or, give them space to show themselves. And that's sometimes really, really important. And then the last but not least is impact, because people are also extremely happy when they make impact. So if you give them that opportunity and they can do really well, they'll be also really, really happy. But the most important thing is that you, as a manager, need to find a way to create this opportunity. And then you just go from there. But also, if you're not a manager, if you are that person that wants to grow, find the opportunity for yourself. Talk to your manager, because that's it. You can you can probably sometimes you can see the opportunity better than your manager, and you should talk with them.
Very interesting. I really like this part of leading without title. So would you expect that this comes proactively from a person, or you would kind of start it up, or?
I mean, it depends on the character of the person. Some people are just like this, they're gonna lead people wherever you would put them. Some people are shy, so you need to, tell them, it's okay to lead people without having the title, but it really depends. Sometimes it's natural, sometimes you need to grow it with somebody.
Cool. Uroš and Nemanja, how do you make this balance?
Okay, by my opinion, what I'm doing first, I'm teaching people how to learn. Because if I need to learn them something, the best way is to make them efficient in learning. And when I'm doing that, I'm also showing that I'm interested in their learning. So that is making the trust. I understand that in different people in different stages of careers needs to focus on different things. If you're a junior, you will focus on performances. How you grow, then you are trying to work on the project which have impact. And if you go even more, you need to work on the things which are producing visibility. So there is different expectations for different stages. principals in Microsoft which are on the same level as I, which are individual contributors. There is expectations. They find the opportunities as impact. We are working together as a team to find the opportunities for impact. So it is different in different stages of their careers on things which we need to focus on.
Makes sense. Nemanja?
Yeah, I mean, these are all good points. I think to bring it all together is probably the way I see my role in all of that is adaptive leadership. You know, different needs at different times for different people with different aspirations, with blah, blah. So there's a lot of dimensions. So sort of not approaching it with a cookie cutter solution, because I don't think there is one, depending on where you are at in your career, where you're at in your life, where you're at with your drive and all that kind of stuff. But I think talking about opportunities, and I can talk about that firsthand. So when we formed Rivian in Serbia, it was a small site. It was a kind of, you know, the leadership in the US was testing the water here. So opportunities were not coming on a plate served. We had to, you know, go behind the scenes, understand the dynamic in the leadership team, understand where the biggest opportunities for are, and then, you know, bring these opportunities to Belgrade and then deliver on them, and then sort of build from there. So I think that all kind of links me to kind of high NGC conversation. If you're there and you want to make an impact, you'll find these opportunities. Of course, working with your leader, but I think you know, adopting that mindset that, you know, opportunities are not knocking at your door all the time. Sometimes they're very, you know, there's scarcity of opportunities. You know, IT industry is ever changing and evolving. I think understanding that, you know, you can go after it, you can just do things, is one thing that is important, I think, for you know, surviving in this industry. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Awesome. So a lot of different aspects, like starting from mentorship. Well, first of all, like defining what growth means, actually. Then having on mind that people can be in different stages of their career, and that growth when you're a junior and a senior is not the same thing. But also mentorship, leading on your own. But one thing that I noticed that it's kind of overlapping is opportunities. Like I believe that all 3 of you mentioned opportunities, like that a manager should try to find opportunities for its people. In ideal case, you as a team try to find opportunities, but also from the manager point of view, you need to take care of your people by trying to give them different opportunities. Do you agree?
Yes, I mean, it's, I think, same in business as well. You know, you always try to find the opportunity for your product, and then with managing teams, you always try to find opportunities for your people, for your team. So, yes.
Great.
I would add one thing. You said opportunities. How you are progressing in levels. You need to understand not just technical side, but business side as well. Because if you understand both, you will be in better position to find opportunities.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
You're saying that you need to be T-shaped.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm hearing as well. Cool. So maybe I would digress a bit at this point. We mentioned psychological safety, and we mentioned like different ways to ensure growth of our people, and I believe that feedback is kind of one of the tools in this area. So if there is psychological safety, that there should be a place for feedback, and I believe that feedback can be an important tool, like not only for engineers but also for not only for managers but also for engineers. So maybe, because it's such a relevant topic, maybe you can give a point or two what makes feedback good from your point of view.
Maybe I can add a couple of points there. So I think feedback for me needs to come from a place of genuine care. If it doesn't, you know, it's not going to land. It's not going to do anything. It might just annoy people. So I think approaching it from a genuine care. So you took your time to understand what you want to achieve with that feedback and how's that going to land with the person. I think that's the first thing for me. The second angle there is adding that time component to the mix, basically making your feedback as timely as possible. So like, if there is something constructive you want to provide, don't sit on it for 3 months and like, ta-da, by the way, 3 months ago you did X, Y, Z. But whilst it's fresh, whilst it's sort of relevant, whilst it's something that we can work on, act on it as soon as possible in a safe environment, in a place. I think the kind of also the logistics of it matter. Not say it like in the lift or like whilst passing by, but taking your time to sort of make people comfortable. But also own that feedback. If you're providing something constructive, back it up with something and kind of just show what the good looks like and what the success looks like based on that feedback, not just kind of like, oh, I don't like that. What does that mean? But apart from that, maybe one more point on feedback. I think it's important to balance constructive feedback with, feedback that's positive, and not forget. As leaders, we often forget about, providing, hey, you've done that great job there, and I like X, Y, Z about it. So kind of reinforcing good stuff. I think oftentimes you're focused on, fixing things. Which I think there's some studies, I'm not an expert on that, but I think there's like 1 to 5 ratio, 5 positive feedback units to 1 constructive is optimal in the study. I don't know the setup of the study, but like it's an interesting number to kind of think about because oftentimes we do forget that side of things. And that also needs to be not just vanity and praise for sake of it, but kind of tailoring that, is it in public domain, what are we actually highlighting here and celebrating, is another angle there.
Great.
It needs to be timely, constructive, and you need to deliver it in the right way. What that means, different culture, different people, you need to deliver feedback in different way. If you're delivering negative feedback, you need to do that in private. For positive feedback, you need to ask people how they like to be delivered. Some people are not taking well if they are getting positive feedback in front of a big audience. They want that in private as well, or small group, depending on the culture. Sometimes, if you are direct, that can be problematic. United States and Americans, they were known for saying, in business there is no personal. But these days, I work with other multinational teams. You need to deliver feedback in a little bit different way. For example, there is situation, behavior, impact way. So they are taking that feedback and not treating you as a villain. So that is really important, how you are delivering feedback as well.
Yeah, I believe that there is this term, radical candor, where you want to aim to be as honest as possible, but in the most respectful way. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I will just plus on how to deliver the feedback because it can be quite challenging, and we can probably spend the entirety of this panel talking about communication styles, and how different communication styles communicate, and how it's important to sort of tailor your conversation towards the style of the person you're talking to. And then that becomes really, really hard if you want your team members to actually, discuss feedback amongst themselves and not channel it through you or their managers. And you do want that. And then I guess in that case, my best advice would be to, lead by example and try to use, smaller meetings or bigger meetings to deliver feedback and then show people, how it is done. Then talk to your seniors, your leads, and try to work through them so they deliver feedback constantly, and then people see, okay, X, Y, and Z got this feedback and they survived, so it's fine for me to give this feedback to somebody else, and then they will they will get feedback as well, and they will see it's not a big deal, and then you will get this, you'll spark this culture of freely giving feedback, but only if you invest, proper time into it.
Yeah, I believe we're like getting back again to psychological safety. So building this safe environment where you can like show the example how feedback can and should be given, right?
I have a really good example of me failing at psychological safety. I had this like team meeting with all the people that I lead, and then like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it was like 3 people. And we had this meeting and we discussed everything in the company. It was like the best meeting, like best time of the week for me and for them. And then as my team grew and grew and grew, I had more people and the meeting took less and less time. And there were, less and less questions. And I got to the point where I have, 30 people is in the meeting and I have 0 questions. And I was always like wondering, what is happening. I know that they have questions, but they're not asking the questions. And then I read about psychological safety, and then it just hit me, okay, you're stupid. So what I changed then is like the next meeting I came like with a presentation, with some preset questions, and then the meeting basically ran over its time. Because people suddenly felt more safer and more comfortable with asking questions, since it was not we just sit down and stare and who wants to ask something. So yeah, that's a good example of what psychological safety is.
Great, thank you for sharing this story with us. So guys, do you want to add up something on the topic of establishing this good feedback culture? Like we talked now about psychological safety, leading by example. Any other ways to establish this good feedback culture?
I would add just one thing about special case. If sometimes behavior is such that it is totally unacceptable, you will not wait to give feedback. You will give feedback right away saying, I'm sorry, but that kind of behavior is not acceptable in the team, and it should not be tolerated. That is one special case when to make psychological safety possible, you need to break the rule and provide negative feedback in front of others.
Yeah, it's not the best situation to be in, but yeah. Cool. So one of the things that connects all of you guys is that your teams have grown through time. You were scaling in a way. So can you share what are some challenges and opportunities in this setup, like when your team is growing?
Maybe I can start. My organization grew to like from 0 to 15, like less than a year. So I think there are some good stuff about growth, a lot of good stuff there, but also I think it comes with a change. So going back to first question around high-performing team and vibes, part of it, vibes definitely do get diluted as you have more people. So there's always this kind of group that started it all, back in the day was this vibe sort of a thing. So I think dwelling and kind of having a bit of a sad times around, good old times are gone now we're in this new mode, isn't going to help you. So kind of understanding that, we are now entering the different phase and not chasing that vibe from a year ago sort of a thing, at least was helpful for me. I think it's important to understand and look around you. Your role's changing. You cannot, what served you well a year ago won't serve you now. So that's one angle. At the same time, all of a sudden you have more people that can take on different things. So people that were there in a small group, they can grow. There's opportunities for them to then lift other people and preserve that initial energy that was setting that team up. So, you're going from, you have a couple of people that are very resourceful to maybe a larger organization where you have a bit more wiggle room, opportunities, somebody can go on holiday sometimes, but then also you can pursue some other opportunities that are maybe bigger than you would ever be in a position to do with your original team. And maybe one last point for me, I think it's important to kind of go from your direct, like when you have a smaller team, you're there, you're available. There's a lot of interactions, there's a lot of FaceTime with your team, and you're kind of relying on that, at least I was. As you grow, as you scale, as your organization is becoming bigger, you then need to start kind of relying more on systems that you build, so that would kind of ensure high quality output, efficiency, and all the cultural aspects, but it does not have to all come from you. You're kind of going from leading by maybe example to leading by context, providing the context, providing clarity, providing guardrails, providing direction, and empowering your team then to kind of build stuff whilst you're not there in each and every conversation and each and every kind of culture building opportunity.
Great.
Maybe one thing that I can add is what helped me is uniting people with the product. Because more people are coming to the team, and one thing that's same for us all is we want to make impact and we want what's best for the product. And then how you build on that is you give ownership and accountability to all the new people that come in, and then suddenly they feel like the product is theirs. And it's not just, they came to a team whose product is this and that, and they're working something on that product. No, it's their product. And if you achieve that, then it becomes like really, really comfortable to, grow, because you can scale the team easily.
That's super important, yeah.
If you can grow organically, that is the best way. If you have the team, which is highly performing, split it and create one. That will provide opportunity for growth for the people. They will be highly motivated, and you will be able to preserve the culture. If you need to grow with taking people outside of the company with totally different culture, that will be much harder, and you will need to invest more. Also, systems are important. If you need more teams, more people, you need to have organization, and accountability is extremely important, but accountability of the managers and leaders, because we need to be the shields which will prevent things to affect teams. We need to know what we need to do so they can focus on their job and deliver.
Awesome. So culture plays a big role here, and there are multiple ways to ensure that this growth goes smoothly. But is this specific, also when we have distributed teams? Nowadays we have some cases where the company is totally distributed. We have cases where people are working from home remotely, hybrid mode, and so on. Does this add on complexity while growing?
Definitely does. At least from my experience, I think you can create high-performing team much faster if they have more face time. Realities of today's work do not always allow that. In case of our company, we are distributed across geographies and time zones. So I think one thing that really helps there is clarity on the mission. Why are we here? Why are we together in it? And what the success looks like. But also I think creating opportunity for more face time, sometimes it's not that easy. Might be prohibitively expensive to fly people around, but I think in my experience, when people get together, their Zoom personas become their real themselves, and that's where magic happens. We all have Zoom personas, maybe deliberately or not, but it's the face time for me personally that where magic happens. Once you create the magic, then you can distribute. But I think having that initial, is it like a couple of days, couple of weeks together, something along those lines.
For us, I mean, as you know, we're based in Belgrade, and most of our people are in Belgrade. But I still remember COVID pretty vividly, and it came for us at the point in time of our project where we were, in the most complex phases of the project. And then what helped us is, as you said, it's really hard to get to know somebody if you're not, face to face. But as it turns out, if you play Counter-Strike against somebody, you'll get to know them pretty well. How they behave, what they think about, how they curse, stuff like that. So that's what helped us a lot. To bond and to be together even if we are not together. So playing Counter-Strike, playing PUBG, it helps that we are a gaming company that plays games as well. But that's what helped us.
Great.
The best team is the one which is co-located. That is definitely why, because they are spending a lot of time together. In the morning, coffee, small talks, lunches, everyone is sitting on the planning in one room. That is the easiest way. And why? Because as a manager, you will notice if something is not working when people are together. With the remote team, it is much harder, but I totally agree. Having people traveling, meeting, talking, understanding more who is that other person on the other side is really important. Having someone who is responsible liaison for that remote team will help. And at the end, use technology. The most important thing, every meeting which is important needs to be recorded. Be inclusive. If someone is not there, if someone is on vacation, have that recorded. Right now we have co-pilots which will take everything there and have some transcript which is summarized. That is really, really powerful. And that helps.
Amazing. So guys, we are basically out of time, but before I thank you for this great discussion, I would just steal maybe a minute if some of you has a takeaway message for people who are like aiming to build high-performing team besides playing Counter-Strike.
I think create support system. I think having your boardroom, people that you can talk to, exchange your ideas, and you will have always anxieties and fears and kind of questioning yourself. I think if you have a group of people, peers, leaders, other leaders that maybe have been through it, I found that super helpful. Also coaching helps, having somebody professional work with you. But I think most importantly, showing vulnerability to your team. I think showing that you don't know it all and you're relying on your team to help you and to get there is important, at least from my experience.
I agree. I would just add, think in systems and don't forget to have fun.
Be prepared for a lot of efforts. That is, everything which is worth requires time and efforts.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. It was a very fruitful discussion.
So I'm coming in just to say thank you, because not everybody understands that some of us swear as a love language, okay? So this makes it better. Now you're up for lunch, the favorite part that everyone has at a conference. So please be mindful, come back on time, but no, sir, don't get up yet. You need to clap first, okay?